And I see already. And this meeting is being recorded, as you just heard. We normally do recordings of the session. So my name is Juri Teijdenk. I'm a PI researcher at the Amsterdam UMC. Very happy to chair together with Jenny van der Steen the sessions, the happy hour sessions. I'm also very happy that we reinstated this tradition that was initially started by Lex and Guy about having research integrity lunches. Now we have improved, well, if I may say, improved, and it also changed the name to the Happy Hour, Research Integrity Happy Hour. It's a way that we can highlight and put emphasis on research integrity in all sorts and all forms. And we organize this every month. And it's also great to have Rita Santos here. She is the project leader of the NRIN, Netherlands Research Integrity Network, and the driving force behind these happy hours. So thanks again for putting so much efforts in this today, Rita. It's a joy and also great to see so many participants to come today. And this is not without reason, because we have a special guest today. His name is Flávio Azevedo, originally from Brazil, but now working at the University of Groningen. He is an assistant professor. He's a pioneer in developing tools and practices in open science and advocates for a more diverse, equitable, inclusive, and accessible open science movement. And he's therefore recognized. Not only he has received awards such as the UK Reproducibility Network Open Science Dorothy Bishop Prize, but he was also one of the finalists of the Einstein Foundation Award on research quality, which is a wonderful prize that gives him more opportunities to further spread his the message of open science. And today he's going to talk about the FORRT. And the FORRT is the framework for open and reproducible research training. That's really trying to put reproducibility in open science more integrated more in the open scholarship principles into higher education. So we are very happy here. Just for the people that haven't been here before, how the format works, we have 25 minutes of presentation. If you have any questions, please write them down. You can put them in the chat and write them down. Then we have 10 minutes of a referee, and I'm also very happy to have Lex Bouter, Professor Emeritus, here on board. He is the referee for today. He will have 10 minutes to ask questions, to pose questions to Flávio. And then we have 25 minutes for all the participants to ask questions. And please put them in the chat. We'll try to get back to you in the last part of this happy hour. So having said all these logistics and hope everything is clear, then I would like to give Flávio at first stop sharing my screen and give Flávio Azevedo the word.
All right, thank you very much. And I really appreciate being here. Thank you for inviting FORRT. We are a really large community of interdisciplinary researchers, and we cherish every opportunity to spread the word of integrating open scholarship, open science into higher education, as well as in your research pipeline. I'll share my screen. Let me know in case something goes not as planned, but it should be all right. All right, awesome. Let me start. Second. All right, perfect. All right, so to start my presentation, the major goal is to show you what FORRT is and display our community's work and give each project a little bit of attention because we have many projects. So the background of FORRT is that open science initiatives have turned a blind eye to education, which for us loses out on opportunities to address the perverse academic incentives and research evaluations that tend to erode research quality. So this talk is focused on curricular reform, development of new methods of education, and addressing questions related to how do we ensure different research epistemologies in open science, how do we redistribute equitably this power and attention across different groups, and how can we build open science communities that reflect accessibility, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and social justice, right? Especially in the sense of there's very few resources out there and lack of support. So how can we do this? So starting from the beginning, what is the problem that we're trying to solve? So essentially, it's the idea that research practices, quality or robust research practices are now more global and spread around, and they have been a little bit neglected when it comes to education. How do we teach this? How do we train people? And essentially, it's very common, for example, for undergraduates and a few graduates to go their entire studies without having ever heard about open science and the credibility revolution. And that undermines, I believe, permanently our goal of redressing current norms that are not so coherent with robust and better research practices. So to answer a few of these questions, we funded FORRT, and we are working together towards addressing at least the little part that we can, right? So FORRT is a volunteer-based community that was founded in 2018. We have over 1,000 early career researchers, but also folks from different seniorities. And we engage between 400 and 600 people a year, but that number is increasing last year and this year for sure. We represent a wide variety of fields, but we are mostly in social sciences, but we have mathematicians, we have engineers, people in pharmaceutical sciences, biomedics, and etc. We have a large following on X, but several visits a day. 130 visits a day. And we have partnerships with other large-scale open science organizations. All right. So the goal with FORRT is fourfold. The first one is to build together with educators a path towards incremental adoption of principled teaching and mentoring practices. And by that, we mean just integrating open research and into the teaching, right? Talking about open science topics like reproducibility, replicability, open access, and all of this, right? FORRT also aims to generate a conversation about the ethics and the social impact of openness and epistemic uncertainty, epistemic plurality, all of that. FORRT also tries to consider open scholarship as inclusive scholarship. And we're trying to promote as well a discussion about perceived importance of certain academic activities. For example, how research tends to be overvalued to the detriment of teaching, mentoring, service, and advocate for greater recognition, especially institutional recognition of these activities as well as educational resources. All right, so you're probably familiar with the Center for Open Science set of papers talking about scientific utopia, right? We need to open our scientific communication, make it accessible to all. We need to restructure our system of incentives towards better practices and prioritize truth over publishability. And we also need to crowdsource science and promote large-scale collaborations, what we call big team science, to accelerate scientific progress. So we are suggesting that there is a fourth principle among these three when it comes to scientific utopia, which is to integrate open scholarship, open science into how we educate our students in higher education. All right, so that's why we funded FORRT. So I wanted a little bit to tell you what are our goals when it comes to initiatives that we have. So here you have a very good overview of 4 projects. Each one of these blocks is a 4 project, and each of them has a goal. So for example, we aim to generate a didactical and pedagogical, what we call comprehensive framework. We have pedagogical tools and resources that we provided to help teaching and mentoring in open science topics. We have some resources to sort of help with the incentive structure. We have some initiatives that tries to dismantle hierarchies and help us guide the scientific movement towards more DEI and social justice, as well as community building. And I'll talk a little bit about them now. So the first initiative that FORRT has is the FORRT glossary. And essentially, we thought that as we are developing language, as we're developing and updating our knowledge and vocabulary, this can be used across disciplines in wide variety of senses. And we thought of getting together with experts and defining a lot of these terms to help streamline our communication. So we partner up with 112 contributors, and we define 250 terms, open scholarship terms. This is what it looks on the website. So for example, this is cumulative science. And then we also have a web or a interconnected web of related terms, all the references, and who contributed to this entry. So in FORRT, we're very keen on listing and giving credit to everybody's contribution. And it's an open community, and that could be you, for example. The next phase is of the glossary initiative is we're on phase 2. And now we are translating our glossary into 11 different languages. And we are also expanding to 350 more terms, which is to say that we're going to have 700 in the end, I think. 600 in the end, and you can help us. There's several words that haven't been defined. We need your help. All right. We also try to provide a curriculum from which training can be given, and we also try to set forth a vision for open science in the future. So that's the FORRT clusters, and we draw on the expertise of over 50 experts in the area, especially on the teaching and development of pedagogical tools. And this is more or less what it looks like on the website. So essentially, you have a description of each cluster and the subcluster and what are the associated trainings, literature, and then we are putting the materials that are associated with each training there as well. We're partnering up with the amazing Koala Lab, which is an organization on integrating open science into qualitative research, and to sort of rethink this to also include qualitative research in our clusters. And we're partnering up with people in research integrity as well. So if you would like to have, if you're an expert in research integrity, let us know. Send us an email and I'll loop you in on the next cluster, the next updated cluster. We have an initiative that we call the lesson plans, but it's essentially the idea that we need to help folks teach open scholarship. So we have devised over 20 lesson plans. We published a paper on this as well, and they are evidence-based. And there is 60 class activities. So the class activities last between 5 minutes to 20 minutes, and lesson plans are full 1 hour to 2 hours lesson plans. And like there's on topics of interpreting effect sizes, how to be critical, not cynical, introduction to open science, of course, open data, data quality, and all of that. We also have a collection of summaries of open scholarship research. So in this case, mostly to not only that someone can go on the website and learn about a given topic just by clicking on each summary, because there is a connection between them, but also on the idea that we often forget that most of the world doesn't have access to the majority of papers published. So we wanted also to increase accessibility by creating these summaries and allowing people to learn about this. So this is what it looks like on the website. You have on your left side the overview, and then open reproducible summaries, as well as on diversity, equity, and inclusion, which we consider part of open science. And then you have the main takeaways, the records of all summaries papers. I think there's 200 overall, and we are creating now. We're literally doing this now. There is a team that is trying to expand this to 400, and you can participate as well. We also wrote a paper on the impact of teaching as well as mentoring open science for students, right? So the need for this paper was born out of colleagues that are in the field, that they are reporting the need for something tangible to take to heads of departments to show that there are pedagogical consequences and rationale to teach open scholarship, to teach research integrity, to teach robustness to students, right? So we, again, used a team science approach, and with 75 collaborators worldwide, we reviewed, so it's a review, evidence that investigate the impact of embedding open scholarship into your teaching. So especially when it comes to scientific literacy, so think about knowledge, competencies, attitudes towards scientific culture and doing science, scientific engagement, which related to motivation to learn, enjoyment, future behaviors towards science, concentration, and interest, but also attitudes towards science in general, which is a really hot topic right now. So it's a really good contribution. Please check it out. We also have another initiative called Replications and Reversals, and the goal was to collate successful and unsuccessful replications so that people can go to our website and see, oh, am I teaching this topic? Or also, am I doing research on this topic? And then see what are the failed and successful replications, hopefully to set the field forward so that we neither contaminate the younger generation with failed replications, nor do we spend valuable research resources into doing this. This is what it looks like on the website. So for example, here's social psychology. You go on the website FORRT.org/reversals, and you click on this little boxes, and you see a qualitative statement by us, whether it's reversed, replicated, or mixed. And then we cite all right, let me get there. Sorry, everybody. Essentially, I was saying that we are producing 2 Shiny apps for our community, and that will be available online. One that encourages you to do meta-scientific research, say that you're interested in moderators of what replicates or not, say that you're interested on a wide variety of variables that relates to replication, you will be able to use our Shiny app to do that. And we also have another Shiny app that looks at the educational side of this, or the writing article side of this. So you essentially can upload a reference list and know which of the references that you're citing or teaching on your syllabus have been replicated, and what is the status of said replication. That would facilitate a lot folks not teaching unreplicable research, but also helping them not to cite these too. We also wrote a paper on sort of reframing the credibility revolution a little bit, and paying a lot of respect to previous papers that try to talk about this in a more general level, because there can be a lot of reasons why certain things not replicate, and not necessarily this is a statement about the quality of the research that was done previously. So we try to address this now. So we wanted to provide a novel way to reinterpreting the developments that have happened since the credibility revolution, and how, in this case, psychological science really made a lot of efforts towards change based on structural, procedural, and community-driven innovations. So essentially, on how people do research, the institutions that are available to people to ask for help or to how to do certain things, trying to affect the system of incentives towards more robust research, and procedural change. So that's at the individual level, how much people are doing research differently nowadays. We make a review out of this. It was recently published at Nature Communications. Please check. It's a really good review about like lots of developments that we focused on psychological science, but it can be applied to a lot of other sciences. We also have an initiative called the Neurodiversity Project, which is an entire team devoted to integrating and advocating for neurodiverse people into academia. So if you don't know what neurodiversity is, it's essentially the non-pathological variation in the human brain that leads to consequences for how you socialize, how you learn, how you pay attention, mood functions, and etc. And we think that on the social justice side of things, neurodiversity had received a lot less attention than other minoritized statuses, and we wanted also to bring that forward. And we aim to essentially bring visibility to neurodiversity, as well as co-create with neurodiverse folks interesting materials for open science. We wrote a position statement on this aspect that you can see on this link that essentially tries to bridge the many intersections between the neurodiversity movement and open science movements. Really interesting, and we have a figure to talk about this. And another initiative that aims to sort of dismantle hierarchies or tries to provide more social justice to or just social justice concerns is our academic wheel of privilege initiative, which is essentially trying to have us think about the benefits that we benefit, the privileges from which we benefit, and try to think about the justice of putting yourself, somebody from the global north, as the first author, the last author, when you're tapping into resources of a gazillion different locations from the planet, and how to help people which are less privileged than you on this. So this is a really cool initiative. Please be attentive. We also have FORRT's pedagogies. So we catalog exemplary instances of principal education, and how amazing folks have implemented open science into their education, whether it's on psychology or political science or other topics. So if you have somebody to suggest to us that is doing amazing here, let us know. We'll interview them and put all their materials online so that their experience can be replicated in the classroom. We have lots of resources as well on our website. So we have a collection of syllabi as well as slides that you can tap to use. They have their licenses. So to facilitate teaching on this area. We also have a FORRT syllabus that has our vision of how open science as a general course should be taught, but it's very interesting. We have a curated resources, which is a page that just lists both community resources as well as crowdsourced resources. We have over 1,200 right now. And essentially you have to type, it's a searchable field, and you have to type the full word on the search engine, and we'll find a lot of resources for you, whether those are articles, lecture slides, all sorts of educational materials, and etc. So, and we recently partnered up with the Center for Open Science to
4 more minutes.
All right, we recently partnered up with the Center for Open Science, and we also took over their OSKB initiative. So now we have even more resources for the community at a centralized place, which is very kind of COS to do this. We have several initiatives towards social justice, and I wanted to leave you with the links for our, socials, email, and all of that. And check out our publications. I should update the cited. We are actually cited over 200 times now, so that shows a little bit of impact. We were mentioned by NASA, UNESCO, and several other amazing organizations. So we are trying to do the good work. please join our Slack, and I'll post the invite to the attendees so you can benefit from community level opportunities, educational materials, and everything that we do. It's a really vibrant community. I'm sure you will have a great time. And you can also join from the website. There's a Get Involved at the top of the website that you click there and you can join our Slack community. All right, that's it for me today. Thank you so much for your time and hearing me.